Hey everyone, in this video I'll be ranking all of the sidearms in Mortal Shell 2 on a tier list from best to worst. We'll be exploring all the synergies because you can do some pretty insane stuff like this, taking out enemies instantly. Like for example, did you know that you can literally turn into a Necromancer, raising whatever you last defeated 2 copies of them? There's some really powerful ranged weapons in this game and I'll be breaking out all of that in this video. And I'll be covering the best builds, tarstones, and everything you need to know about the ranged weapons because there's a lot of wrong information going around about these. I'm going to first start off with the Naylshotte shotgun here, and all weapons will be at level 0 here just to showcase their abilities and make it easy for you guys to see. Now the game has a Doom reference in it, but this weapon actually makes you feel like Doom Guy. Now tarstones work pretty much the same as they do on weapons, but the ranged variants will have different tarstones available. Now one thing that's different about ranged weapons is there's one that doesn't have an infusement, and there's a actual ranged weapon that doesn't have an ability either. But that's not the case with the Naylshotte. This one is the most versatile, having a lot of different tarstones available. I really like the fragile because this makes targets take bonus damage from weapon attacks. Part of the reason that Teal is so good is his ability to apply fragile. But we also have for this one the Iron Piercer Stone, letting you pierce through enemies. Critical hits will deal break damage. You can make it so that it also will deal splash damage, make it so that it deals damage over time. This one's really good early on if you're going against like Magdalena, for example. And we also have the Charge Stone, which lets you increase the charge speed. And oddly enough, one of the weapons you would want to use this on, you can't, but you can on this one for like its ability cores. And you can also have this, which will make enemies that die from an explosion do splash damage. Now the exploding projectiles on the Ballistazooka Stone here is pretty fun. So basically what it does is it gives it like a range where it's going to air burst off. So you can see there, like pretty decent. It gives it more range. Although I do prefer the Enfeeblement Stone because 7 stacks of Fragile is no short order. Typically with the shotgun, since you can pull it up so quickly, like it has one of the fastest draw speeds in the game, you're going to want to use it as a debuffer, mostly. There's other ways that you can use this, but being able to apply those 7 stacks of Fragile just makes it so that your main weapon can do insane amounts of damage. But there are some really fun crit builds that'll abuse the break damage, but the Rupturing Stone is available to all. Now this one comes with 2 infusion. You have Burn, which is, I'll be honest, terrible. This one does require you to get critical hits, as well as the Vile Tongue Hedron, which is the best choice. Bleed damage in this game is crazy. If you watch my weapon tier list, the ones that just have blood curse tend to skew to be stronger because of the pure amount of damage that this can output. And this comes with 4 different ability stones. You have the Soldier Shard here, which uses Resolve to launch a heavy round, and it does an arc and deal splash damage. You can also get this on the Crossbow and the Hystrix. We also got the Confessor's Keepsake. This one's pretty good because it does a charge shot that does 350% damage. My personal favorite, though, is the Fusillade Stone. This will allow you to do a fury of consecutive shots, getting an increased critical hit chance and critical hit damage. 100% increased crit damage. That is a lot better than getting like a shot that does 350% damage because you're shooting off a lot of shards, and the extra crit chance means that you have a higher chance of applying bleed or burn if you want to use that. But there's also the Barrage Stone. This one's pretty fun. So basically it shoots a heavy round that does an explosion, and this is what it looks like. So you do a big mortar shot there. It's hard to aim, but it gives you 2 shots because you're probably going to miss one of them. So yeah, you get that mortar shot there. Pretty cool though. You see it does a large splash there. It can apply its statuses too. Like we got Blood Curse on him because we got a crit off. So that is nice. However, counterpoint, Fusillade Stone. Who cares about applying statuses when you can apply the dead status on people? So that just shoots off all your shots really quickly. So it's a great way to dump your resolve quickly and also apply statuses on bosses. And here's what it looks like on a higher health enemy. So yeah, you got a blood proc off on that. It is great. So if you need a quick way to spend all your resolve, this is a very solid weapon for that. But even so, you still are applying fragile stacks with it. So you see there, we got fragile on 2 enemies because of its large splash radius. So then our weapon attacks will do more damage. But honestly, the Naylshotte is all reliable. You get it early on. I would say it's a little bit better to the Iconoclast because it just has so many ways that you can use it. Shooting off and getting fragile quickly with its fast shots. It has Fusillade Rondo, so you can just destroy everything. Yeah, I think I'm going to set it, it's like high A tier into the S tier. Just such a good weapon, and it looks really cool too. Which brings us to the Forgotten Crossbow. These two are very similar, but also have their differences because the Forgotten Crossbow is a longer range weapon, where the Naylshotte will do higher amounts of damage. They both pull up quickly. And they do share some stones together, so you can do that mortar strike attack there, which applies burn. Not that you'd ever really care to apply burn, but it's something that it can do. What's fun is the large number of combat stones here that you have. You got the fragile too. It's not as good as the Naylshotte because the Naylshotte can hit multiple per a pellet, but you have more shots with this one here. We also have the Shuddering Stone, which will do a shockwave. This is really cool because it pushes enemies back. You get this early on, and it's actually a very good stone to use. My favorites are the Splitting Stone or the Myriad Stone. So these will make additional projectiles dealing percentage of the original damage. This will make 7 with 30% original damage, a little harder to aim. And then we also have the Splitting Stone, which creates 4 projectiles, 35% of the original damage. These don't take extra resolve, which is amazing, and they can also crit and give you a lot of status. We also have the Iron Piercer, so that this will make it so the pierce bullets can go through multiple enemies. A little bit harder in practice than actually using it. Pulse Stone will pull enemies together. This one's actually kind of cool for some builds, but I like the other one that pushes them back. We also again have Corroded Stone for that damage over time, making it great for Magdalena. Exploding, we can also make it so that when we hit a target 5 times and eventually 4 times, they get an explosion that's going to do splash damage, although it's not like super high. And this one also is the Charge Stone, but it has 2 of the weaker elements on it. With the Hag Stone, Poison, this is great if you're teal because he can detonate the extra poison stacks that you get. And the Ember Seed is okay. I mean, it's going to give you the burn as well. Yeah, both of these do end up being nice because they will apply it a little bit quicker than the shotgun would because you have to get the crits off on the shotgun for that to work. But this comes with the similar ones. We have Solnir Shark, Confessor's Keepsake, Fusillade Stone, which is my favorite, and Barrage. So you can go in and boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's silly. That gave him an insane amount of poison stacks too. So if we go with just a single shot off, we got 10 or 20 stacks there. So this is great if you're teal because you can just go ahead poisoning the target. You're going to see poison damage is not very high. 336, 337. It does 1 damage per second. Yay, that's actually very terrible. So you typically want to use poison only as teal. So I'm not going to talk about this one too much. Burn is okay because burn will make later smaller enemies get staggered a little bit. But yeah, the crossbow is like it's kind of like the shotgun, and it's good at just applying statuses fast. So shooting on multiple pellets is nice. You got 20 on that target there. But yeah, you really want to use the special Fusillade Stone on it. And all that much better if you're playing as teal. So yeah, you can do some silly stuff as him, but yeah, you see it. It actually has pretty solid damage there. We have 99 stacks of poison on that target, so amazing again if teal. But I did use this for most of my playthrough because it's just a good weapon for long range engagement. Now, there are some instances when you're just exploring the world where this is really good. It's not bad against bosses. Like, it's not as good as the shotgun in my opinion, because shotgun with Blood Curse, obviously amazing. This is still a really good weapon. I'm going to throw in the A tier. You want to use it with, like, obviously teal, but it's great at range. And with the Fusillade Stone, being able to dump that many statuses on an enemy is kind of nice. But next is the Lute. Now, this one is interesting because it's going to imply confusion when you use it, which makes the enemies fight each other. And you can do this. Boom! Or wrong one. There we go. So it can hunt down the enemies and do a little extra damage. It does a lot of posture. We got to break off. Now, this Lute can also apply Fragile. It does have pushback, which is kind of funny because it's such a wide-hitting attack. It's kind of somewhat similar to the Cursed Child, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. It also can apply Break on crits. It can do explosions. I like, again, Fragile is just such a really good status in this game, so we're going to run with that. No infusions, though. That is a big downside, because obviously they are pretty good, but it has confusion on its main attack, so that's technically its infusion on it. Now, it does have only one ability here, the Hand of Rock, consuming 80 resolve to unleash a swarm of relentless homing projectiles. They do break damage, and it shoots really quick when fast upgrade or max upgrade. So anyways, here's Wonderwall. Boom! Yeah, it's really funny. I really enjoy this weapon. It's different, and that's where it really shines is we got the status off there. It is sometimes really weird, like he was confused, but he's still coming after me. I actually posted a video yesterday where I had Janessa's Stray clones actually be able to confuse an enemy with a weird mechanic. I'm still trying to replicate that in gameplay a little bit more consistently, but yeah, the Lute is just really fun. Big pushbacks, being able to apply Fragile in a large area of effect, and all of that is really cool, but I really just like its Hand of Rock ability. That one's really funny, just going pew. Yeah, if you find that cool, it's great, but it's really bad against bosses. Now, this is a similar situation as like Gragu, where he's great for mobbing. Bossing, it's kind of a struggle because it's a little bit more difficult. You can't really use this too much whenever you're going against a boss, but you still can. I would have to say, though, it's probably like a solid B tier. I like the concept. It's just in practice doesn't really do, like it does literally like no damage, but it's confusion. It's funny. It has potential to be really good because sometimes the enemies it confuses will do an insane amount of damage. Other times you're just struggling and doing not much, and you'd rather use your resolve on like a weapon attack or something different. But next up we got the Salvaged Trebuchaxe. This is such a cool weapon as well. This is one of the charged weapons that we got here. There's a few that are a little different, but what really shines about this is it has one tarstone that is unique to it with a Squall Stone. This is what you saw at the very start of the game. Projectiles will spin in place for duration. I posted a Gloom Farm, and you can use this to make it really easy because it's going to spin around and just stagger enemies. Like your Hystrix, for example, gets staggered heavily by this. It also has the damage over time, the critical hits, yada yada. You don't want to really use anything other than the Squall Stone. Being able to projectile spin for 5 seconds, dealing 11% of the original damage. Not only is it dealing damage, it's applying its status with one of the interesting options here. This is a good choice. Now, you got lightning there, which is, it's meh, it's okay. Monarch's Vestige here is the only one that's applying to this one, and it's Phantom Stacks, meaning you're probably supposed to use these two together. This is really good. Phantom, if you don't know, will do splash damage over time. As you saw at the very start of this video, when you get a lot of stacks up, let it run out, it'll just boom and explode and do damage. Stagger damage, another thing I want to make a note of, is different from break damage. You may have seen other things that list off saying that they do break damage. So break damage is what's going to be that yellow bar below the enemy's health. With stagger damage, this is like a thing that we can't see, but it's been confirmed by the devs. What it does is sometimes you're able to stagger enemies like mini bosses or elite type enemies, and this is how. Stagger damage is a little bit different, so it'll just take them out of their attack animations and things like that. But we really care about that damage because it's really high when we use the Squall Stone and this together. Now, this is also a weapon that gets the Fusillade Stone. Yeah, this is a crazy weapon. And it also gets the Tarred Fragment. This is another unique two-hit stone, which allows you to tether a projectile in place. It's such a cool ability. And seeing is believing. With this, you do have to charge it up as well. So this is what it looks like. You shoot it off and it's going to spin there and just rip its head off. It's just so crazy high damage. You also get 2 of these. So yeah, that is insane. So you can shoot off this disc here that's just going to decapitate anything that goes nearby it. Just weird projectiles shooting off there. But even naturally, if you shoot it normally, you have 3 shots. And with the Squall Stone, you can see it spinning in place there. So we got 56, 64, 72, 80 stacks of Phantom, and he's going to die in a few seconds. Boom. Yeah, you guys get the picture. This thing is crazy. It's great if you're able to like get a target off like balance there, not paying attention to you, because that charge time is pretty deadly. It is tough. You can dodge out of it though, so that is one nice thing. So if you're trying to get a target, you can like fire it off and then move out of it. But those spinning projectiles are really nice because those Phantom stacks actually make a big difference. Phantom you can also put on the spear. It's decent enough, but once you have that pop there, it's so satisfying because you can literally put a ton of stacks on an enemy really quickly, but also groups of enemies. So it really does it all. This weapon is really fun. The biggest downside obviously is that it does have a charge time. Now there is a way around that because we do have a stone here that is able to charge it up 50% faster. The only downside is you typically want to use that if you're using the ability stone, because this will replace the Squall Stone, which does 11% of its damage for 5 seconds in place, 11% multiple times, by the way, and apply the statuses. So you lose out on that by taking the charge stone, but with the charge stone, you're going to take this out and it's going to shoot quicker, so you can pull it up. That's a special attack there. So it depends how you use this weapon. You can use the special like ability stone there to get that attack with a quick charge. And here's what it looks like if you're to do the regular attack here. So fast charge speed is nice. It does do a lot of damage, but I miss having it be able to do damage in an area of effect over time. Like that is really fun. And with this, you only get those 8 stacks of Phantom, so it's not enough to take out a trash mob like that. When we saw it earlier, was able to just delete a elite enemy quickly. So in my opinion, from testing these a very long time, Squall Stone is the way to go. With Phantom and using, you have 2 choices here. You can go with the Tarred Fragment, this is a cool one, but you also have the Fusillade Stone as well. So with this, you can go ahead with the Fusillade Stone, charge it up, it does have a longer charge time, and then boom, 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 triple attack. Yeah, nothing's living through that. It is a little bit longer to get that off, but yeah, this weapon's absurd. Now this one does come with a big drawback, but I do think this synergizes enough with all the tarstones that are available to it to make this a very overwhelming weapon against enemies. This one I am going to put up in the S tier. I do think this is a little bit better than the shotgun. The shotgun, you do have the ease of use and just firing it quickly, whereas this is a charged weapon. But there are times where the boss is going to get staggered, and you can actually get, again, you can fire this off before you do a riposte style attack, and then go and attack them, and they're going to get that Phantom stack damage afterwards. So it is just a really synergetic weapon. It does have, like, I can understand if you think it's bad because you don't like the charge on it. Like, I totally get that. It is a drawback, but it needs it because it is just raw power. And next we'll be talking about some more raw power with the Triarch Repeater. Now, this is one of the 2 heavy weapons, so they do pull up a little bit slower, and it is technically like it's Proxima's weapon. It's like a alien type weapon, so it's from an otherworldly origin, which Proxima is kind of an alien. But it does feel like it plays better with Aerodrome because it gives frost on critical hits. Now this one does come with the Enfeebling Stone, but it's kind of tough to use it. If you're going to go in on it, like break damage with the freeze is kind of nice, or even going with the explosion after hitting a target 40 times, which is funny. It goes down to 20 at max stacks. These do change depending on the weapon that you're using, because this one is like a minigun. I like to use like the Enfeebling Stone because 7 fragile stacks per strike it's pretty silly. Also, it is available to get lightning or frost, so we're typically only going to want to use lightning or frost, because Aerodrome takes advantage of frost really well. He gets 200% damage against frozen targets, but frost is going to freeze a target in place, so you get free hits. And if you're using a very powerful weapon like the scythe, for example, you can do a lot of stuff. The big downside, no ability stones. I guess it is just an ability in its own to be able to fire really quickly, but yeah, that is the one downside there, kind of similar to the Lute not having infusions. So to show you everything, you need to pull this weapon up, which takes a few seconds to pull it out, and then takes a few seconds to charge it up. Those yellow attacks mean it's a critical hit, so we're getting freeze off on the target. And it's also fun, you're heavy weapons guy from Team Fortress 2, so it costs you a lot to be able to spend that. With the price of graphics cards nowadays, it makes sense. But it has a whopping 100 rounds. It doesn't have, again, an ability, but being able to freeze with this, like, that's just seriously so good. There is another tarstone I should mention here that makes this really good. You want to have the Marksman Stone. This will give you a 15% critical hit chance on those shots. So because we are firing it so quickly, you're going to get those stacks pretty quickly. And yeah, this weapon is another one that's like a charge up, so you do get the max 10 stacks of the vulnerable really fast, so that is nice because you can go in, freeze everybody, and then they're taking more melee damage, so you can go in and just clear house like that. It's kind of silly. But again, you want to play as Aerodrome typically with the Frost style builds. I did post a Frost King Aerodrome build on my channel yesterday. I'll have that linked in the pinned comment, because he again does 200% damage to frozen enemies. Now, infusions being locked to certain weapons, I think is meant for balance, because Frost is just so good, so they had to put on the Great Martyr Blade, which just lets you do the running attack to get the best out of it. This weapon has a charge speed on it. I want to put a B tier, like if it didn't have Frost, if it didn't have Frost, it'd be C tier, but I do think it's probably like a low A tier, just because Frost is so good. Like, unfortunately, when we talk about the weapons in this game, you do have to talk about the tarstones because they are limited. If they were available for, like, if all these were available for any ranged weapon, that would change things, but the builds will be specific to the stones available because that is how they work. But yeah, Frost, it's the best status in the game other than Blood Curse, so I will throw it in the A tier. It's going to be a lower A tier because the weapon itself is like nothing special outside of, again, Frost. And next we got the Cursed Child. Now this one's really cool because it's kind of like the Lute but with damage. You can use this to farm early game with Proxima. They did end up nerfing that a little bit, but yeah, it's a little skeleton in a cage, kind of freaky. It's great for applying Fragile because of those large arcing attacks. You can also apply Break and also do the Sidearm charge faster, which is not super needed. Fragile will be the way to go for this, but it can come with 2 amazing statuses. This is where it really does shine because Blood Curse, again, is amazing, and so is regular Curse. The thing is, these don't require critical hits, so like the shotgun needed you to crit to get this to apply Blood Curse. This one doesn't. Now, Curse is also really good. I did a tier list of the best shells in Mortal Shell. Serial is honestly an S tier, and I think a lot of people underrate him. He can make enemies stay cursed for 30 seconds, but his tier 4 ability is mind-blowingly insane with Affliction. So damaging a cursed enemy deals damage to all other cursed enemies. So if you're using the Scythe with a huge arcing attack and you have everyone in an area cursed, they are going to take 50% of the original damage and just cut through everyone. They're all dead. It's just so powerful. And if you don't know what Curse does, if you apply enough stacks, it's going to curse the enemy and their next attack will not deal damage upon you. It'll hurt them instead. Serial also has a lot of abilities that will reflect on that, like he's able to heal himself off of that. Serial is just a really good character. Don't use the left-hand side and you'll have a good time because his needles suck. Everything else about him, he's like John Bloodborne. He's so good. And while I get that Serial is probably like the least popular character in the game, having the ability to apply Blood Curse also like makes Laszlo really good because Gragu really good because he can build around that. But it's just the ability to apply this without really having to do much. You can just go in, it's got a large wiping attack, being able to apply Fragile and that at the same time. You can see there, we got the blood stacks to go off there, so boom, again, they're dead. The Cursed Child is a really weird one because like you'd feel like it'd be actually like really bad until you get to use it, and it's really good. And you can also do a charging shot with it, but quite possibly the most interesting in the entire game, the Summoning Stone. Consume 70 resolve to summon the last slain foe to fight on your side. The foe will attack 5 times before vanishing, and you can summon 2 of them when it's fully maxed out. This is where this thing gets really crazy, because you're basically going to carry this as your necromancy tome. I tried to slay one of the big guys, but unfortunately I also killed a little guy at the same time, and that's what we summoned there. But yeah, it's really good. It lets you play as Janessa without having to play with Janessa, and whatever reason, these have way better tracking than Janessa's faithful doubles. I don't understand. Look at them. They're actually going to war for me. It's crazy. I actually feel like a necromancer. It's kind of absurd how good it works and actually like does what it's supposed to, whereas Janessa has a full class ability that just doesn't work properly. But I digress. Being able to apply Blood Curse on an attack here is just so good. Now, yeah, you got both of those things going off. You can actually carry hard for general, like, mobbing sections of the game. But even against a boss, being able to pull this out and just, blah, get bleed off on them is so good. I know there's probably some people that think this is, like, one of the worst weapons in the game, but being able to apply bleed without having a crit and being able to summon whatever you killed is absurdly broken. Like, this one I'm throwing up in the S tier. It is a one that, again, it's kind of like the Trebuchaxe. It's not for everyone, but we do have the shotgun for people that just like the plain Jane kind of weapons. This is a really good one. And if you're a Necromancer fan like myself, you will really appreciate this. Next up, we got the Caged Hystrix, and this is another really good one. This is the weapon that typically you want to use as Serial. Now, the reason for that is it can also apply Curse, and it can apply Poison, so it's good for if you're playing as Teal as well, but this one does require you to get critical hits for it to apply because it's a fast-firing weapon. But it has a wide variety of combat stones available to it, like the Enfeebling Stone, which is like my personal favorite, but it also can get by with using the Splitting Stone. Again, getting 4 projectiles is incredible, and that just increases your chance of getting those statuses to apply. You also got that one there, which arcs through, creates 7 projectiles. This one's a little bit harder to use. The Piercer, so you can pierce through enemies. You can boost the break damage. You can also make it do that splash after hitting 15 shots, and it goes down to 10 shots on the target, and you may do splash damage. Again, 2 great statuses for, I guess, great status for Teal, shit for everyone else. Or you can go with the Curse Stone, which is incredible for Serial, and mildly good for everyone else because it makes it so that if they were to attack you, and some of the enemies in this game hit insanely hard, I'm sure you guys know, it's going to turn that attack back against them. And it also does have some cool abilities here. So you get the Soul Near Shard like some of the other weapons, but it has a unique one with the Strange Remnant. Consumes 15 resolve to unleash a stream of projectiles that chain between multiple projectiles. This is where it becomes insane. Now, if you remember back to a little earlier section, if you're skipping ahead, I mentioned Serial's Turbo OP Affliction, which can make every cursed enemy take 50% of the damage from cursed enemies, and with the Scythe, that's incredible, and also make the curses last for 30 seconds, which no enemy is going to last the 30 seconds when you have Affliction built up. Serial can also heal his pain with this too, so this is a weapon you'd want to use as him, and it's his actual weapon, like it's the one that you get when you go and find him. But the reason that this is so good is when you go to shoot the special ability there, it's got 6 charges, so you can go ahead there and chain it to multiple targets, and it, geez, I don't know where that one went. It'll fly around and find other targets, and if you get a crit, which isn't happening very well there, it'll apply the curse onto the target. So then you go ahead, and everyone that's got the curse is going to spread their damage around, which again, with a large sweeping weapon like the Scythe, is just insane. But yeah, this has a lot of uses. You can fire it 6 times and change around like that. This is what it looks like naturally. It looks really cool. It doesn't have the damage of the other ones. It's mostly just a curse applying weapon, but again, you do have to get you have to actually be able to get a crit off for that to work. So characters like Laszlo will actually benefit from that because they are good at getting crits, or someone like Teal who gets a guaranteed crit. Although this shoots really fast, it's a little different. But it can be a great way for Teal to also spread poison around. So it is a limited one. I'm not going to rank it as high. I really like it. It's one of my favorite weapons in the game. I think it's S tier for, like, if you're playing Serial or Teal, it's S tier. Everyone else that's using it will get a little bit less effects and probably want to use something a little different sometimes, but it's a repeater. It shoots really fast. It's a fun weapon to use too. Like, fun really does matter in these games. I'm going to put this at the top of the A tier above the Crossbow. I would love to put it in S tier, but I feel like it is quite limited. You do have to get critical hits too for that curse to apply, but if you can get it to curse off every target in an area, and you go in and you start slashing with the Scythe, it drops everyone. It's one of the funniest ways to deal with New Game Plus. So if you're looking for something to upgrade in your next playthrough, this would be one of the greatest options. It's seriously so good, and I could put it close to the S tier, but like the Cursed Child, just being able to raise an undead and be able to apply its statuses without requiring any crits just puts it above the others. And the last one we got here is the Ballistazooka. This is actually a returning weapon from Mortal Shell 1. It's one of the only ranged weapons in the game. With this, it has some pretty good options. You get the Enfeeblement Stone, so you can apply Fragile, you can Knock Wave, you can pull them together, you got the Piercing, you got Break Damage, you got the Charge Speed, you also got the Corroded Stone, so it does damage over time. Piercing is pretty funny on it because you can actually do some cool stuff with it. It only has a couple statuses here. It's got Trauma, which is just really bad. I'll be honest with you guys. Trauma is not that good. Break damage over time would be good if like the break bar went down over time, like in like other Souls like games. But break damage doesn't drop, so you're not incentivized to keep dealing damage over time. So if the game was different, this would be actually better than it is. But due to the way the game's built, not that great. But you can also apply burn with this, which is decent enough. Like Laszlo has a burn style build you could use, but yeah, I'm not too sold on it. But it does have two unique stones here. It's got the Fulminant Stone, which will allow you to do a heavy round that does break damage and explodes random extra projectiles around the target, or you got the Infested Stone, which will do a massive explosion after a delay. So I'll first show off what the Fulminant Stone looks like. And the biggest downside, longest draw speed in the game. It takes forever to pull that thing out. And that's what the explosions there look like. Yeah, not like super whelming, but you see, it did enough stagger that we almost got staggers off. We did kill one of the targets, so it's nice in the effect that after doing this, you can fire this off, do that big explosion, and you still get to fire another one. So that's something, I guess. But here's what the Infested Stone looks like, which will have a little clinging projectile. And again, long animation here, but this shoots off like a Semtex basically. So yeah, you see him, he's freaking out. Oh no, boom. And he lived somehow, the others didn't. So now he's moonwalking. What is going on here? Whoa, yeah, that's something that can happen. So it's cool, but time is of the essence in Souls-likes. We want to take enemies down quickly. He's really confused about what's happened there. But it's like the other one where you still get to fire off another shot afterwards. And yeah, we missed. So it doesn't have the raw damage, it doesn't have the attack speed, because again, if you're getting attacked, pulling that out in like a 2-second animation, you're just gonna get your shit clobbered. So yeah, it's okay. I think it's a funny one. There we go, we got him attacking him again. So yeah, your mileage may vary on that. The Troubadour's Lute might be a little bit better. Oh, they're moonwalking again. Yeah, it's going to make them chase after those explosions, and it just messes with their AI, kind of similar to some of the other setups there. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, being able to set people ablaze is fun and all, but this weapon does kind of struggle in some areas that the others don't really. So it has two bad statuses, slow draw speed, middling damage. What does this have going for it? It looks cool. It's a rocket launcher. That's really about it. But I'd actually have to say this is C tier. It's just a little bit below the others. Like, if you wanted that special effect of getting the enemies to like attack each other, use the Lute. And if you're skipping ahead to watch this section here, I highly recommend you watch the previous sections because there's a lot of context for these weapons. Some of them do have some very cool things like the Cursed Child, instantly applying bleed, also being able to create a two clones of the last thing that you've taken out. That is crazy. The shotgun, it's just the shotgun. It's really good. And they can also use the Fusillade Stone to do some insane damage. And if you got a high crit build, you can do, like, it's one of the biggest damage attacks in the game. It's pretty crazy. Trebuchaxe is absurd. Like, these two can swap around. Like, the Trebuchaxe just being able to apply the Phantom on a boss is absurd. It's good against elite enemies as well. And anytime you're exploring, you see an enemy far away, you can shoot this off, get those Phantom stacks on the enemy, and the extra damage, like when it hits the enemy multiple times, it'll sometimes stagger them multiple times, which gives you a break. And this Hystrix, this is a weapon that I could also throw up in the S tier. Like, it is probably close to there, but being able to, you have to get crits for it to apply curse when the other weapon, like Cursed Child, are a little bit better at that. Crossbow, solid, consistent weapon. And the Repeater, this one is heavily just because of the frost status. The Lute and the bazooka, they're cool, but they just don't do the same weight as the others. But none of the weapons can do this, so the Lute is the true S tier. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed. I do have tier lists ranking the best melee weapons as well as the best shells in the game, and I'm always curious to hear your guys' thoughts, so leave a comment below. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.